Here we have a used 2022 Audi E-Tron. This one comes in the premium trim level in the beautiful Navarro blue metallic, and then we have a copy brown leather interior. Now we have an all-wheel drive system here, with this being a Quattro, so we have an electric motor on each axle. And our power output is 402 horsepower, 490 pound-feet of torque on a 95 kilowatt-hour battery, giving us 222 miles of maximum range. And then this one has just a little over 33,000 miles on it, so we'll see how it's held up. But to the front end here, we do get our LED headlamps along with LED daytime running lights. And just a little bit of road rash here. On these EVs, the paint tends to be extremely thin. So I have a Mustang Mach-E, and my paint, I've had to have it painted about twice. The front bumper at least. But to the wheels, here we get these beautiful 20-inch aluminum wheels. And then the charge port is here, and when you open this, it actually shuts the vehicle down. So everything's gonna cut off, and then you can open it. So anyways, just a little finicky, but you get 150 kilowatt hours, or 150 kilowatt max charge speed with this. And you get passive keyless entry on all 4 doors. And you have power door lock controls here. Power mirror controls are here. You can pick a side, right, left, and then adjust. And then you also have blind spot monitors, and those side mirrors fold in when you hit it that way, and then you can turn the heated mirrors on there. And the blind spot monitor is going to be the indicator right there. But we have one-touch automatic up and down windows on all 4 doors. Power rear child locks there. And then our memory seat functions are here, so we can just hit set and then press the number we want to set it to. And then we do have a power lift gate there. But I can only figure out how to open it. I don't think you can close it from the front for whatever reason. And then here we can open that front area. And then we have a pretty big storage pocket here. I like how they did that. And then we have our, it's kind of hard to see, but headlamp controls, we can toggle those there. And then the all-weather lights, we can turn those on and off. And then down here we have a power tilt telescope steering wheel, and that's how we control that. And then here we have our power driver's seat with power lumbar support. And even with the miles, the leather seems to have held up pretty nicely. But I do have that seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. So let's check out this rear seat room. So pretty good leg room in here. And it helps that the seats give you that kind of space in between there. My leg's a little too wide, so I can't utilize it fully, but it does help. It's about the same space, it feels like at least, as my Mustang Mach-E. And then we do have the back pockets on both seats there. And one thing my Mach-E does not have is these quad zone automatic climate controls. So we have dual zone up front, and I'll show you that after a while. And then in the back here, we can adjust fan speed, fan direction, and all this is kind of like a soft touch, and I love that. So we can have it coming from these vents here, and then at our feet, all of that. And then we can set the auto mode, and we can just turn that off by adjusting that. And then we can also just tap the auto mode to turn that on and off there. So I love having that capability there. Just so much you can do with that system. And then down here, 12 volt, 2 USB-C charge ports. And then this middle seat folds down. And there are cup holders there. And then a storage compartment here. I like how they did that. For grab handles here, we do have a hanger hook, but we could probably hang 1 plastic hanger, maybe 2 metal hooks on there. But let's go ahead and make our way to the back. And I will say, this is one of the better looking EVs in my opinion. I just think this vehicle is beautiful, especially in this Navarro blue. But there's the cargo space there. And then we do have the cargo nets that we can pull up for either side. I love how they did that. If you want to keep some stuff back here you don't want rolling around, 12 volt. And then we could actually fold these seats flat, either from up here or back here, excuse me, or from up front there, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then if we pop this here, we even have a spare tire. Again, something you don't see in a lot of EVs. Usually they just have the inflator kit. So if you're a big fan of the spare tire, you do get that here. And I want to give a huge shout out to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this E-Tron today. I'll leave a link below too in the description. But a look underneath here. Now as we come around to this rear passenger side, again, we can do this for either side, but pretty easy to lock that back. Well, it's actually difficult. You got to give it a push. But then again, you can pull it from up here as well. But to this front passenger seat here, I do like that we still get the power seat, and we don't get the power lumbar controls, but we still get the power seat controls, and it's nice to have that. And then a lockable glove compartment here. I love this natural wood feel, how they have E-Tron there. This just feels like a luxury EV. But as we come around to the front here, hit this release, and a lot of mechanicals going on here. Of course, it's a front mounted electric motor as well as a rear mounted one, so a lot of that's going on here. But there's a release for that if you ever need to get in there. And I do like how easy it is to open and close that. Let's get in here, get away from these leaf blowers. But to the steering wheel here, we do get that leather wrapped wheel. Just a few little blemishes, but this does have almost 34,000 miles on it, with it being a 22, so this was definitely driven and used to its full capability. Turn this fan speed down a little bit. Now to the radio here, we do have the option for FM, and then we also have XM radio, and then we can set up our favorites and all that there. And it's pretty easy to use. I like how this is set up. Basically everything, like you have icons for most of the stations and all of that, and it pretty much seeks for you. So you're not going to dead stations, you're only getting what's coming through clearly, so I like that. And we also have our Apple CarPlay, Android Auto compatibility, as well as Bluetooth. And to connect your phone, pretty easy to do. You just connect a mobile device, new connection, it'll search for your phone, and then you can go that route, also find it on your phone as well. And then the navigation system here, pretty easy to use as well. You can use voice recognition or type in the places you're going. It'll start auto-populating, and then your keyboard is down here. You can just start typing in closest Walmart or whatever, and it'll pull up suggestions based on that. And even show you how far away everything is, so pretty neat. Now for the backup camera, great picture, and then the guidelines follow you to turn the steering wheel. And I love how the backup camera kind of turns, or at least the view turns as you turn the steering wheel. I don't know if it's easy to see that there, but and then we also have that 360 view too. And then we can turn on the 3D surround vision if you want that. And then we have that front camera as well, which again, great picture, very impressed by that. Now down here we have our climate controls. So like I said, we have quad zone climate control, so dual zone in the back, dual zone in the front. Very intuitive system, very easy to use. We can turn that auto mode on, and then we can actually turn it off hitting the auto button without having to adjust the fan speed. We can adjust that fan speed, fan direction, temperature. Love that soft touch there. Just again, easy to use, easy to control. AC toggle here, and then if you want to sync, you hit that, and then up here toggle the sync there. Rear AC controls, and then your heated steering wheel toggle is here, and then you can turn the AC max off or cut the whole system off there. Now we do have 3-stage heated seats for the front, And then up here we have our downhill brake control. You can hit that there, toggle your home address, your garage door transmitter is there. Hit that and you can pull up your charging, and then you can turn the display on and off there. Turn the AC back on, it's hot. And then if you hit these again, that pulls up these additional functions. But drive select, hit this here, and then I love one of the best things about the E-Tron. It's one of those slept on EVs in my opinion, but you have an adaptive suspension, so you can go off-road, you have dynamic, your auto mode, comfort, efficiency, and then all-road. You just have so many different ways that you can drive this vehicle, whether you're off-road, on-road, doing road trips, or trying to race people. It's great to have that. And then your traction control toggle, hazards are there, and then your defroster's here. And then you can hit this button here, and that'll pull up your camera there, along with that 360 view. And then over here, you can go through your driver assistant. So you have maximum, individual, and basic. And if you click here, it'll kind of show you what's going on there. So you have all this when it's at max, and then your basic, you just have that. But I like keeping it maximum. I like having everything on there. And then you do have a volume knob here, which is nice to have. So you can turn that volume up and down. And then you can also toggle your track list or radio stations there. Now for the shifter, this is pretty interesting. It's just this lever here, so you could pull it down for drive and then hit it again for that sport mode, pull all the way up for reverse, and then you can kind of tap down to neutral, or for you're in driving and tap up. And then you kind of pull all the way up either way to get to that drive or reverse. And then that park button is right in there, which is interesting, but kind of gotten used to it. You have an electronic parking brake, pull up to engage, hit the brake, press it down to disengage. And then here, you have a little additional storage. And then you can use your cup holders there. And then a 12-volt little storage, 2 USB-C ports, and then small little center console cubby space. But that's the sunshade there. We can just one touch open that all the way up. And then one of the best features about this is you actually have a power moonroof here. So you can one touch tilt or slide that. And it actually goes all the way back, almost all the way back, I should say. And that's pretty impressive in my opinion. But all those controls are here. Your dome lights, all that, you can toggle that there. And there's just a quick look at the back seat from up here. But back to the steering wheel. Blinkers are here, and you can toggle that lane keep system there. You can turn your auto high beams on there, and then when you have the headlamps all the way on, you toggle your regular high beams and then turn those off, just pull back, and then you can flash there as well. And then to the right side, we do have automatic windshield wipers. So there's one time it's at off now, then you have auto, low, high, and then you can adjust your auto wiper sensitivity there. And then that's your rear wiper. And then you can pull back for the rear wiper fluid and then push up for the front wiper fluid. And then it also washes your headlamps as well when you do that. But to the steering wheel again itself, you can go through your sub menus of the gauge cluster here. It's all digital, I like that. Then you can go in here and go through the actual menu and then hit this view button. You can change the view there if you want to have the nav up all the way or whatever. Just hit that button. And then to the side here, whoever had this before, I like how they did this. They set this favorite button up to your heated steering wheel. So that's what that's set to, but you can customize that. And then Bluetooth button, voice recognition, then your track list, radio station presets, you can toggle that there as well. And then volume controls, you can just click that for a mute button. And then your cruise control, we do get adaptive cruise here, so we can turn that and then on and off there. So that's on, off, and then distance, you can toggle all that, and then speed there. So interesting setup there for that. It can be a bit confusing, but once you get used to it, it makes sense. And then we do have push button start here. And then finally we have our key fob. But now to the fun part. Let's go ahead and take this 2022 Audi E-Tron out of the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in the E-Tron here, one thing I did forget to mention was the settings. So all of that is there. And then you can just go into the general settings here. You can't do it while you're driving, but you can change your units and things of that nature, language. Well, the language is right there, but your units of measurement and all that can be changed in there. But overall, love the presence this vehicle has, I think. It's just so futuristic, even in the inside here, just driving it. I love how everything works. And the pull is fantastic. Now, one thing I still have not been able to figure out is the regenerative braking system here. I don't know, somebody told me, I think in the comments, and I still do not know how to do it, but I cannot get the regen to stay maxed out. But of course, with it being an EV, especially an Audi, it's extremely quick. And the ride quality is actually spectacular. It's very nice. And I believe when that yellow indicator comes up, it's kind of lane centering. And then you just kind of have to keep your hand on it. So it's nice to have that. Not 100% sure though, it's weird. Because it feels like it's not driving straight now, but I guess the lane centering is on now, and then that indicator comes up when it wants you to keep your hands on the steering wheel. But again, ride quality is fantastic. Road noise is pretty minimal, and the same thing with the wind noise. Of course, you're not hearing the engine or anything because there isn't one, but yeah, just a very good driving vehicle. And it does help having that when you start braking and then you use the paddle shift. It's nice to have that, but I kind of just want a one pedal drive feel. So I have the E-Tron in efficiency mode now, and that just, you have to put your foot into the pedal to get it to go, basically. But you still have a bit of power when you need it. It's just not the same feel as that dynamic mode. Yeah, you don't get that full power that you get there either. It's responsive, but you're not getting those full horses like in dynamic, which is fantastic. Just love that drive mode. And then something interesting that I found is in the efficiency mode, it automatically put my AC into the eco mode. So that's interesting. I didn't even know the AC had an eco mode. So you have that, and I feel it not working as much as the regular AC, but still, I'm not getting hot in here. So I like that a bit. And then let's go ahead and put it into the comfort mode. So in comfort mode, you still have pretty good pull. It's not as touchy. It's not as much of a sport mode as dynamic, but it's a good solid drive mode. And of course, that's mostly just meant for you to be comfortable in terms of accelerating and then decelerating, all of that. But in terms of competition, there's really not much out there. I think you could compare it to a Mach-E, an Ioniq 5. You can compare it to pretty much any EV you want to, but this just is on its own level with the luxury, the feel, the drive. It feels like an Audi EV, and not a lot of other luxury brands have a full-on EV. I don't think Lexus has anything that compares yet. Mercedes, you could compare the, I guess, the EQE SUV. But this just, it rides like an Iron Man car. That's kind of how it rides. And even the EQE SUV, I feel like, is not as smooth as this E-Tron is. Now on this side road here, I am starting to feel as I hit bumps, the vehicle does bounce, but you do have that adjustable suspension. And I think in the EQE SUV, that might be an option. I know in the EQE sedan, you get that aromatic suspension. I feel like the aromatic suspension in the EQE SUV, excuse me, might make that a competitor with this in terms of the ride quality. But in terms of the looks, I just feel like the E-Tron still got it going on. It's one of the first ones to come out, just as an EV in general, let alone an EV SUV, and it still is one of the best looking ones out there, like I said earlier. And it has the acceleration to match. Handling's pretty solid. And especially having a vehicle like this that can go off-road, you don't see that a lot in the EV space either. But we'll give it one good pull after we get from behind this truck. It's just so quick. So quick. So again, a pretty impressive vehicle, just overall. Highly recommended, honestly. But this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2022 Audi E-Tron.